thing is heating up. Holy shit, I've never noticed that before. Anyhow, I'm going to tell you about the time that my son decided that he needed to take a picture with a dead body. It actually is getting hot. So the year is a few years ago and my grandma died. So before we begin, let's give you some context. Gigi is my grandmother, and she is the one who won $1 million on the lotto, and she's the one who lived with my mom and dad. So my grandpa died when he was, I don't know, in his 80s or something. He had heart surgery. He didn't make it out. We knew that going in. Everyone's fine with it. It is what it is. He was old, and he had congestive heart failure. Anyhow, oh, it beeps. My grandmother was living with my mom and dad, and she, trigger warning, fell out of bed, passed away, died. Again, she was very old. It was time. She was having these seizures, and she would wake up from her seizures and say, I want to be done. I want to go home. So it was time, okay? The underside of my hair is none of my business. We live 4 hours away from Gigi at my mom and dad's house, so we don't see her all that often, but my son's like, in his mind, Gigi gives him the candy, the orange candy, which is Reese's. She always had candy. So when she died, he was like, who's going to give me my candy? She had an open casket. No one is traumatized by this, especially not my 3-year-old son. Because when we were at the funeral, he goes, Mom, can I take a picture with Gigi? And at this point, we had like let him approach the casket. He was like looking at her. He was like playing with her hands and stuff and like reaching in and trying to touch her. And he had asked a few times, a few different people, if he punched her, if she would wake up. And we told him, please don't punch your dead grandmother. That's not what we're doing here. But he said, I would like to take a picture with Gigi. And my sister and I looked at each other and we're like, I don't know. So I let him, I don't know. You let kids process however they're going to process. And he decided he was going to back up against the casket and put his thumb up and go, I'm ready. And he smiled really big, and I got a picture. And I can't show the picture on TikTok because it contains a dead body and also my child, whom I'm not comfortable sharing. I'm comfortable showing the dead body, just not my child. I don't think my grandma would really care. She's not with us any longer. But that was the talk of the funeral, along with the fact that every time someone would enter the funeral home, my son would tell them, did you know my grandma died? It's like, yeah, babe, they're all here for it. That's why everyone's here today. But he was 3. He didn't know. To this day, my son is still the same kooky, crazy weirdo. And honestly, my grandma, his Gigi, would have found it funny if she could hear it. She was very hard of hearing at the end. So that is the story of how my son decided he needed to take a photo with a dead body at my grandma's funeral.